Welcome back to the Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life podcast. This is Life Coach Myrna Young, and you're listening to 5 Minute Fridays with Coach Myrna. Today, I want to talk on a topic, the stone the builder rejected, now the cornerstone. And I was reading my Bible the other day, and I came across Jesus talking about the stone the builder rejected becoming the cornerstone. And I grew up hearing my grandmother talk about this a lot. And I thought, you know what, let me put together a message on that. So let's start off by talking about what Jesus said. Jesus told the story of a man planting a vineyard, building a wall around it with a lookout tower, and then leasing it to tenants. During the harvest, he sent one of his servants to collect his share of the crop, but they beat him and sent him back empty-handed. He kept sending more servants, and they beat them all up too. So he decided to send his only son, and they beat him and killed him as well. Then Jesus said, "The stone the builders rejected has now become the cornerstone." And if you want to interpret this parable or this passage, Jesus is talking about God sending all the prophets, and they beat them and killed them. And then they sent his only son, and they did the same thing to him. And now his message, Jesus' message, has now become the main cornerstone of Christianity. That's how I interpret it. But like I said, when my grandmother talked about this scripture, she wasn't obviously talking about, God sending his only son and we rejected him and beat him and killed him and because, they didn't want to listen. She was talking about life. She's talking about what she's seen in family lives, right? For example, the most common and most prevalent where you can use this scripture is parents having favorites and favoring one child and rejecting another. And then the same child that they rejected becomes the cornerstone who looks after them when they get sick, old, and feeble, right? So that's usually where, whenever we say that, you reject someone, and that's the person that you need to go back to because the person that you favored doesn't want anything to do with you. But I wanted to expand our consciousness today and use this scripture to talk about life coaching and focus on it as a personal development tool. This simple yet powerful saying is a reminder that what we may be initially overlooked or dismissed can be proved to be essential, transformative, and foundational. This metaphor or scripture mirrors the human experience. Now, throughout history, visionaries, innovators, creators have often encountered resistance when introducing novel ideas, unorthodox methods, or unconventional paths. Think of Elon Musk. Think of, I can never remember his name when I'm looking for it. The guy from Apple, right? When he was talking about building the phone and building all these different things, nobody believed it because you have to, you basically have to stand out on a limb, right? And in order for people to believe your vision, a lot of times you're out there all alone. And then now look at Apple. Apple has become our main cornerstone, right? Some people are trying to challenge us, but it's undoubtedly the main cornerstone, right? Steve Jobs, basically, you get his name. All right, consider the pioneering minds who introduced revolutionary technologies, art forms, and philosophies. Many face skepticism and dismissal, only to have their rejected stones later become the bedrock of progress. This is what I'm talking about, Apple, right? From the Wright brothers' ridiculed dream of flying to the skepticism surrounding the early internet, Countless examples reminds us that the seeds of innovation can initially be met with doubt. In personal journeys too, the metaphor holds weight. People who defy society norms or follow their passions in defiance of conventional wisdom often face rejection and misunderstanding. Yet history has shown that those who stay true to their convictions, despite the initial rejection they encounter, they eventually shape new paradigms and redefine success, right? What's popping in my mind now is Helen DeGeneres. She stood out on a limb, got crucified for it, but now everybody is coming out. There's no shame on being different. There's no shame in being gay, because she came out and bore the brunt of society norms, right? The phrase universally extends to relationships and personal growth. People who have felt rejected or marginalized can harness the power of resilience, transforming their perceived weakness into sources of strength. Through determination and self-belief, individuals can evolve from overlooked stones into cornerstones of their own narrative, becoming inspirations to others who walk a similar path. Yeah. Do not conform to the norm. That's basically what this show is about. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. If you have something that is outside the norms, listen, you walk with it. You experience the uncomfortableness until it becomes the norm, until your stone becomes the cornerstone. So as we navigate a world of rapid change and evolving norms, the wisdom behind the stone the builder rejected has now become the cornerstone, remains as relevant as ever. It encourages us to embrace the unconventional, to view rejection as an opportunity for growth, and to recognize that what society may initially dismiss can ultimately redefine and shape the very foundations of our lives. In essence, this challenges us to value the overlooked, honor the unconventional, and find a strength in our resilience. Just as the cornerstone provides stability and support, so too can our rejected stones lead us towards the solid ground on which we build our futures. All right, guys. So I hope that, if you, grew up talking about this, the stone the builder rejected became the cornerstone because you heard your grandparents, your parents, or even you yourself use it all the time. What I wanted to do was expand your consciousness towards not just the scripture, but how we can use it in our lives for personal growth, for development, anything that is, that you are patenting or you're, something that you're discovering, then go ahead and do it, because you might face initial rejection. Sooner or later, your product or whatever it is that you're designing becomes the new cornerstone. And Elon Musk and Steve Jobs are definitely modern day heroes in this facility. Listen, thanks for tuning in to this week's episodes of 5 Minute Fridays with Coach Myrna. Until next time, namaste.